Okay, welcome back to Violent Money TV. Today, I am joined by Ollie Sarwa for the first time off of a phenomenal. I keep wanting to say Cage Warriors debut. I guess it is in terms of your pro career, but obviously you fought on Cage Warriors for a lot of your amateur career. So, did it feel like too different making that step up to compete in on the pro scene with Cage Warriors?
Well, yeah, so I've done a lot of them through the Caterers Academy, which is like the feeder show. And to be fair to Jack, who runs it, he runs such a good show for the amateurs that like it's run better than a lot of pro shows. So the way he runs it, it's really good as you're used to fighting on the same sort of format the professionals fight on. So it weren't, to be honest, it weren't really much different than I was used to. I was pretty used to all of that. Like it was all pretty similar. So yeah, it was a step up to the first one on obviously the main cage warriors, but yeah, I was ready for it. It's what I was used to, and it didn't feel any different.
I'm sure there'll be like a ton of people. Like it's surprising to me that this is the first time I'm speaking to you because I remember hearing about you so long ago now. It during the amateur scene. As this is the first time I'm speaking to you, we have to talk about one of the best nicknames in the entire sport. Sweet and Sour is genius. Who came up
Yeah.
with that?
I think it was Charlie Falco. I think down from BKK Fighters, one of the other pros. Yeah, I just walked in the gym one day and it just come out of nowhere. I walked through the door and someone goes, "Oh, sweet and sour," and it that was it. It just stuck. I'm sure it was Charlie. Sure it was. Yeah, just that was it. Walked in the gym, it just come out of nowhere, and that was then it. That was the nickname.
It kind of feels like, and I don't know whether this is a thing that translates much to like American audiences and stuff,
Yeah,
but just one of those, like, even though, like you said, it's that's the origin story behind it. It feels like one of those nicknames that you could have had since you were a kid and people just know you as that because it fits
yeah,
so perfectly and it's so
yeah.
funny that it reminds me of people I know who have got nicknames who are just like it just sticks. That's just their name. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it just honestly it just come out of nowhere. It weren't even that long ago, really. I think just I turned pro, so
Yeah.
it weren't even particularly an old nickname. It just everyone's the destroyer, the this, the that. Do you know what I mean? Everyone's the hard man, so just come out naturally. It's funny. It's got a catch to it, so just decided to use it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
brilliant. The performance at Cage Warriors 177 this past weekend, as I'm recording this, was also incredible. I mean, I'm sure from your standpoint, couldn't have asked it for it to go much better than that.
Yeah, no, that was exactly what I wanted to do, needed to do. Obviously, all my other shows have been a bit more on the regional scene. I've done obviously all of them in first round knockouts, all of them within the first half of the round as well. So the fact I could step up to a much more experienced opponent on such a big stage as Cater and still have the same result, it just showed everyone that it's not just all hype behind me, that I do have the power to knock out good people, and yeah, it just shows that I belong at that level and I can continue doing it. So yeah, it was a perfect performance and exactly what I needed.
Yeah, I mean, not only was it like obviously the shot that you dropped in with that right hand was beautiful, like perfectly timed, beautifully placed, but that power that you mentioned then, like you said, first round finishes. None of these fights have been out of the first half of the first round, let alone the first round. Where does that when did you first kind of like clock that power was something that you had the power to end fights with one punch? Because it's it's just rare to see it. Like even that, of course, you see finishes. I mean, those Cage Warriors cards in Manchester this past weekend were like finishes galore. I think there was about like three decisions across two nights of fights. But so I'm not. It's not that finishes are uncommon at this level, but they are when it's that kind of finish, right? That one punch knockout. I mean, obviously there was follow up shots, but that right hand just landed, and it was like, there's no way this guy's getting back into this fight. That's over.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't know where the power come from. Since I've been pro, obviously, it's I think the change into the 4 ounce gloves.
Mm.
I think that helps because obviously they're just less forgiving. Like you can't afford to take the shots. I think I've had some finishes in my amateur. I had my first like knockout at 16 against an adult. So I was fighting from a kid. I was fighting adults. So I've always had the power there. My coaches have always known I've had the power. I don't know if it's genetics. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's timing, a little bit of everything. But I've always been powerful, and I turned pro at 22 as well. So I feel like I've just got into my adult strength, my man strength. Like where before I was obviously younger trying to fight. You don't, you're not physically the same as you are when you're a bit older. So I feel like now that I've got into my like sort of adult stage, that the power was just in them 4 ounce gloves. The power was just there, and no one seemed to take it. To be fair,
Yeah,
yeah.
I was listening to some of the stuff you were saying after the fight, and I don't know whether it was in the lead up to this fight, but I know that you had like a part time day job that you were doing beforehand that has gone away now to really focus on this, which I would say is probably, I mean, admittedly, maybe a little bit different because you did have that amateur pedigree, so that I think is kind of changing things in terms of I think we will see more fighters who are early on in their pro careers kind of just fully commit to MMA because you've already had so much experience. It's like, I don't need to wait around too much. I'm ready to go in this pro game now. But still, I would say quite an early decision in terms of when to leave that behind. I think you'll find that a lot of people around your level are still doing that for fair, even a couple more years of their career. What was that decision like, and how has it been since then, both in terms of not only just supporting yourself but also the amount of extra time and attention that you're able to spend in your MMA career?
Yeah, so like I said, I'm working 3 days a week. I'm lucky I still live at home, so my parents help me out. That's a big part of it because obviously if
Mm.
I don't really have many overheads to pay for, as long as I can pay for training, petrol, food, like the basics, then I'm all good. So yeah, so I was working 3 days a week doing manual labour. I was window fitting actually, and it's just hard graft. So I was training, I was dieting. I just by the weekends and that train, I was knackered. So yeah, I just got a little bit like pissed off, I just got a bit and just yeah, quite impulsively made the decision. Done that a few times in my work life, just randomly quit and things like that. So it's nothing new for me. But yeah, so just impulsively sort of made the decision, started doing the one-to-ones, private training, coaching, and yeah, no, it's been really good. I enjoy it. Give me more time, more free time. So I did like a few one. I train myself, and I did a few one-to-ones. And it's just life so much more enjoyable. And yeah, like I support myself enough doing that with the fights and other bits and bobs that I don't have enough to get by. So yeah, it's a bit scary thing to do, but I still got a roof over my head. So what's the worst that can happen, really?
Yeah, I mean, I think that that's like another part of it that maybe doesn't get like brought into the equation is like not only are you working at the same time, so that of course is going to take away from just the amount of time that you can train for a start, but also I would say 9 times out of 10, whenever I speak to a fighter about either a job they had beforehand or a job that they still currently have at the time, it's usually some kind of like pretty physically intensive job. So it isn't just that that's time you could be spending training, it's that it's impacting the time that you are able to train because it's such a demanding job to do whilst then training constantly.
Yeah, I feel like if you're a fighter, you're going to realistically be the sort of person
Yeah.
that goes into a trade. It just sort of goes hand in hand together, doesn't it? So I feel like that's why that happens. I'm covered in tattoos. I'm not someone who's going to sit in an office and meet the quota. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, so I just went down the trade route, and that's the only sort of jobs I've ever done, to be honest with you. My whole time I've done this. I worked on the roads for a little bit, like tarmacking, all that, while I was an amateur. I've done everything to get by. So it is tough trying to train and doing a manual job. Yeah, it is tough, but everyone else does it. You've got to do it, and you can't make excuses. You just got to do it, didn't you? So crack on and focus and get through it. And then eventually you get to the point where I have now where you can make a go at doing it a different way. And yeah, but I've still put the hard work in. I've done the shit jobs. I've done the stuff I wanted to do to get to the position where now I can train, do what I want, and sort of start to build the life I want. So yeah, I'm grateful, but it's all for the hard work I've been putting in. So yeah.
I mean, it helps when you end fights as fast as you do, I'm sure. Being able to stay active and stuff like that. I know that Cage Warriors have got a couple of shows coming up. I don't know whether how it suits you time wise in terms of getting back out there. I know that they've got back-to-back events coming up in November with Newcastle and London. I would imagine that if there was a December card, that would probably suit you perfectly. But do you think November is an option considering how fast the fight was?
Yeah, so I'd like another one before the end of the year. Obviously, I speak to my manager. I sit down with my coach, my manager, see what the option is. I just enjoying the win, letting a few little like niggles and that, just sort of heal up. I say heal up, but just give myself a week and that just to chill out. Still been training. I've been back in the gym already. I was back training Monday, so yeah, I'm straight back into it. I'm ready. I'm always fit. I enjoy training, so yeah, December would probably be perfect, but I'd like another one before the end of the year. So we'll just see what happens, what's discussed, what comes up. Really, I've got nothing like planned at the minute. It's just yeah, just gonna speak to them and see. So
Feels a little bit weird to mention it because it was just your Cage Warriors debut, but then also the fact that you were the co-main event of that unplugged card and the finish, obviously, kind of showed that you belong in that spot. I don't feel like, especially if the finishes keep coming, it's going to be too long before we're talking about the top guys in this bantamweight division already. We've already mentioned, some of the events they've got coming up towards the end of the year, Cage Warriors, and the bantamweight title fight is going to happen. Liam Gittins versus Shazad Kadri, and I'm sure, considering the Cage Warriors was going to be the route that you were going to take, I'm sure watching the tournament that they had play out, and then the idea of Liam Gittins defending the title against Kadrian after he won the tournament, I'm sure is something that you've been keeping your eye on. How do you think that one plays out? And how long do you think it is before, if you keep finishing these guys, how many fights before we're talking about you being in the mix with the likes of Gittins and Kadrian?
yeah, so I train quite a lot with Shirzad down once a week down London, 10th Planet. I go down there and do some training. So yeah, I know him quite well. I do quite a lot of training with him and mainly wrestling rounds, things like that. But so he's good. So I'm rooting for him. I think his wrestling fucking really good wrestler. So I think it'd be an interesting fight. I think it'd be a good fight. I can see him just doing what he always does, man. Just out wrestling people, being pressuring them. So I think it'd be an interesting fight. Yeah, I don't think it'll be long before I'm up there with the likes of them, not at the top of the division. Especially if I keep knocking people out. Just I'm an exciting fighter. Like people want to watch me. So I like to think people do. So yeah, I just want to, as long as I can put a show on and keep people entertained. That's all I want to do. I got things like wrestling and jits and yeah, it's fun, but everyone wants to watch a knockout. That's what you watch MMA for. So I want to I just want to keep putting a show on. I can wrestle, can grapple, can do all that. I just prefer to put a show on. And it's more exciting even for me in there. I like the buzz of it. I love the buzz of the fight and trading and all that. So I think a couple of wins, a couple more good wins, especially a few knockouts will put me at the top of the division. And I don't want to look too far into the future yet. Just take it fight by fight. I got a few more fights on the contract, so we'll just take it fight by fight, see how it goes. But yeah.
I should preface this by saying that I don't have it. I don't get any personal gain out of this because I'm not connected to it. But people love knockouts. People also love knockouts in those new Violent Money shorts. Let me tell you, that is a great way to kick off the legacy of those in Cage Warriors. Let me tell you, that highlight's going to get played a lot.
Yeah, good man. It was a nice knockout. Hopefully a few more to come. Yeah, definitely a few more to come.
Absolutely, man. I hope that Cage Warriors are able to get you out before the end of the year, and hopefully I'll be at one of those shows, so I can catch up with you then. But until then, man, appreciate your time as always, and congrats on the win.
Yeah, nice one. Thank you, mate.
All right, nice one, man. Have a good rest of your day.
You too, mate. See you later.
See ya.